for staying with us, and we're talking stage play now, and we're looking at, of course, a stage play titled Efetobore, a tale of love, envy, conspiracy, crime, and punishment. This time we'll be speaking with the playwright, TV radio anchor, and play director, Dr. Awaritoma Agoma, and he's joined by a broadcast journalist, empowerment self-defense instructor, Agoma Olowa. It's good to have you.
Thank you.
All right, welcome to the show. Let's come to you, Dr. Agoma. Each time we have you on this show, we are talking about one stage play or the other. And one interesting thing is that they are always indigenous to Nigeria. So let's talk about Efetobore.
Efetobore.
Okay.
Efetobore.
So,
the last time we had a Benin play, and that is what one of the hallmarks of our theatre, Bigway Theatre, is to project the traditions of our people, the culture, our values through culture. Okay. So essentially, Efetobore is an Urobo play this time. Maybe they say charity begins
at home.
At home. I always want to say the way my mother-in-law says it. Charity is beginning is at home. And so it's the unique selling point for our theatre. It's tough because every traditional play does not have 10-man cast, 5-man cast. Of course, you could write plays that would carry that number of people, but you wouldn't be able to project the culture. Because every culture, most times you're talking dance.
Absolutely.
You're talking
music.
All the traditional.
And once you're talking the culture, you must go into the palace because that's where the culture resides. It dwells there. Because we're talking of traditions that are going into extinction because of modernity, technological invention, and then, of course, the inflow of the internet. So
social
gradually,
media.
Social media, people are beginning to leave those things. They think it is barbaric, they think it is ritualistic, they think it is backward, retrogressive, you name them.
So you want to take us back
we're taking
to
us
where
back
we're
to say,
coming
yes,
from.
our culture is rich.
Okay, so let's get
Dynamic.
into the nitty-gritty of this wonderful, stage play. The title and the depth. I mean, it talks about conspiracy, it talks about crime, punishment, and love and envy. So tell
Yes,
us
so
about
we targeted the Valentine season because it's a tale of love. For the first time, you see a king being, I won't say childish, but when love gets you lose some senses. You flow. You flow with the goal, you go with the flow. So it's a tale of love. Efetobore, the name as it is, Efetobore means wealth has got into my hand. But unfortunately, Efetobore in this play was an orphan. And so she lived a life where the stepmother almost killed her. The stepmother and the stepsister. So she was truly, truly going through a part of, you know what happens when people are in the hands of stepmothers. There are some good stepmothers. There are some, but unfortunately, most stepmothers are on this side, but some are truly very, very good to be with. So, but she graduated finally from there, and the king that needs to get a male child after 4 wives, only one male child they couldn't get. After the 8th child, he was angry, so they needed to placate him, and the chiefs said, "Let's just take a new wife." Since these 4 women have been giving us women, 8 girls.
Stuff.
It was a.
Adama, you one of the wives.
It was traumatic.
It's
it's a folky script.
I need Efetobore. She's one of the cast.
Efetobore. So the king needed a maiden. They said he needed to take a new wife from the maidens of Roboland, and so they needed to. This is not the maiden, so she cannot fit.
Okay, so
fit
let's
into
talk
the new
about
wife.
you and what you think about the play.
Okay, well, so in the play, one of the narrators, there are 2 narrators. So we tell the story of what happened, and then there is a kind of flashback, so you get to see what it is that's transpired. And I pretty love the part I am playing, because it gives me the chance to practice my storytelling. What did I say now?
Profession?
Profession. So, yeah.
So beyond that, I know that you're passionate about, the use of voice storytelling because that's your craft. And, you're a woman of many parts, from self-defense to broadcast journalist to narrator. And I'm very pretty sure he will drag you to the stage one day, one of these days. But I would want to ask, what inspired you, the storyline? I mean, when you listen and you read back and you study the story, what is it for you that kicks?
Okay, let me start with the first one. He's not going to drag me. He has already dragged me
Okay,
in.
fantastic.
Because in the last stage play, I acted one of the wives
Oh,
of Ikpemaba.
see, I wasn't too far from that.
Yeah. But this time I'll be telling a story. Okay, so what do I love the most about the story Efetobore? It has a mix of so many things I'm kind of familiar with. There's the Cinderella story in there. There's the Oedipus Rex, the gods are not to blame. There are excerpts from the Bible. There are things we can relate with every day. But I love the most that it celebrates the Urhobo culture. There's so many things about the Urhobo culture that we overlook. When we say Urhobo, we just think about, those women that tie George and all that. But, when you listen to, especially the first narrator talk, you get to know that there are a lot of, should I say, discrimination. They have gone through marginalization. That's the word.
Okay.
So much of their resources have been taken away, and it's being shared outside of Urhobo land, and they're not getting the care that.
Yeah.
So all of that comes in just in people's conversations. Not like someone is angry or something, but it sinks in like what do we give back to these people who we take so much from? And of course, it also makes you start asking the question about other parts of the country too. What is it that they are contributing to the nation's economy and how they are treated in return? So, there's so much fascination, in that. But the best part is the crime and punishment part.
Yeah.
No matter how long it takes, the truth about whatever it is that is covered would always come to the fore.
Absolutely.
And judgment will be served.
Okay, let's have Dr. Agoma share that, because I was actually coming to that. How does this blend? She says it's a potpourri of everything, love, culture, and then crime and punishment. What part of the story tells about crime and punishment?
Essentially, the love part, saying Efetobore, the name means wealth has reached hand. From an orphan, she gets into the palace. And then, for once, the king confesses this is his one true love. He didn't sit well with the other wives. Conspiracy to deal with Efetobore. Haba, what are you? We are a woman like us, so that is where the conspiracy sprang from. And they targeted Efetobore. Before you could say Jack, Efetobore was banished by this same king, painfully. And so, but later on, as events unfolded, we get to find out that Efetobore was innocent of all the charges leveled against her. But before she left, fortunately, the seed had been planted.
Yeah.
The heir to the throne was already with her. But she left. Nobody knew. Even she wasn't even aware. But that's how God rewards, good people. Good will always triumph over evil. That is one of the part of these stories. And Efetobore, that they thought it would, because sometimes they say some people that are grace, they are not gracious. Some people that are supposed to be patient, they are not patient. So Efetobore, wealth has reached hand. Wealth didn't come to her until maybe much more later in life. But of course, there was retribution. There was punishment for the crime that was meted out or carried out against her by those the wives in the other wives, the first set of wives in the palace. And so that was how the play ended. But for Efetobore, wealth got to her finally, because she became the chief or the first queen.
And she came back with the heir to the throne.
The heir to the throne, and the son was made the heir to crowned.
So when you talk about indigenous play and the craft and the heritage that it promotes, how do you also look at the generation next? How do you link the stories to the younger generation? And I'm sure that being the love cycle period, February 14th is very around the corner. Is it also something that younger people can connect to?
I think love is a universal language. It's a universal phenomenon, and I believe even the young people, they can even relate to that and with that. But taking it back to our tradition, how we can begin to love our tradition, begin to find, enjoy our tradition, our culture, is why we're going back. In fact, it's a folky script, like I said, doing it the traditional storytelling way. We're going there to see how it's like that culture is dying out. Yes, it's dying out. And even myself here, as an Urhobo man, I am Urhobo from Urhobo extraction. I find my children, even my daughter cannot pronounce her own name, Esiogene. She will say Esiogene. So I find the same thing with my cast.
Okay.
So struggling to pronounce the names. Ejirogene, Ugeli, a town in the play. Ugeli. So those are things. So we need to find time to do that. The languages are going into extinction. So if we don't begin to capture them gradually, a lot of Urhobo people, like myself, we didn't grow up speaking the language.
Indeed.
And so we need to begin to let our people know that your tradition is about the most important thing in your life. You shouldn't lose that.
Okay, so when is the stage play happening, and what do we expect to see? Tell us time, date, where, place.
Okay, so it's going to be on the 10th of February. That's the Saturday after tomorrow. And it's going to be at the Abuja Continental Hotels. That's the former Sheraton Hotels. What do you expect to see? You expect to see an excellent performance by thespians. Okay, so I've been in one or two productions where you just have people, oh, you can act, come. But Dr. Agoma has done a very excellent job of selecting people who don't just know how to act, but who were trained to act. So you're going to be seeing a really fine production of really young people. And like he says, he has taken the time to train them in, the nitty-gritties of...
So talking about time, what time is it? What time does it start?
Okay, so there are going to be two plays.
Two shows.
There are going to be two shows, the same show, twice. So the first edition...
All right.
2 p.m. and then 6 p.m.
6 p.m.
on Saturday the 10th.
On the same day.
All right. We just have to go now, but we thank you very much for sharing this with us, and I'm sure many Nigerians have listened and would join you on that day. It will be an excellent time out with you. Do have a great day, and well done for the work you're doing.
Thank you very much.
All right.